My name is LeAnn, and the hosting program is not something that I just decided to up and do one day. It's something that, in answer to prayers for God to take my life and show me what to do for Him, He basically opened many, many doors that most people would have considered locked. I saw your signs on the wall outside the church of show me the mountain, and basically I gave God a big mountain, and He flattened it and opened doors and gave us the tools and the people and everything to do this in our lives. And so this program is not my program, it's not Taylor's program, it's His program. God directs it, God orchestrates it, and He is the one that makes it where we can continue. My husband and I got married in 1996, and I had a 3-year-old son by a prior marriage at that time. And when I met my husband, he said he wanted to have 10 children. And I thought, yeah, 10 children. I knew how hard it was for me to have the one that I had. And I said, well, if you want 10 children, there'll have to be a lot of concessions and a lot of miracles that would happen so that that would occur. And about 3 weeks ago, we brought home number 9 from Russia. So going in that direction. But with the first child, infertility didn't work for us. And I really struggled as a Christian thinking, you know, if God wanted me to have biological children, He obviously could do that. He's bigger than I am, and He's bigger than the doctors and the technology and the scientists we have today. And I just never got pregnant again, so I convinced my husband to consider adoption. And in the beginning, my husband was the youngest of 6 children, and he had lots of nieces and nephews, and he didn't have any biological children of his own, and he was really forward-thinking in biological genetics, and that's the way it had to be. So it took me a while to convince him to even talk about the topic of adoption. And the way we started was that he agreed to adopt an older child with the hopes that we'd still have our own biological children. And so I just began looking on the internet and looking up about adoption, and the country of Russia just really drew me in that direction. One of the girls that I saw in some of the photo listings that they had online was a 13-year-old girl, and she had a big picture of her and just a Winnie the Pooh and beautiful dimples and smile. Okay. And she was just, my husband likes Winnie the Pooh and all these collectibles, and so that was kind of like his sign, well, maybe this one, and she's an older child, so we can still try to have the baby. And I said, okay, so we got started with our adoption paperwork, and in the midst of all of that in our home study, we were still going through some infertility treatments, and it caused me to hemorrhage, and it was really bad. And I think it was God's way of opening my husband's eyes to seeing that that wasn't the plan for us. So at the same time we were in the process of adopting this 13-year-old daughter, we went to our agency and said we'd be interested in trying to bring home a baby at the same time. And so we went through our process, we got approved, and my husband's from Rhode Island. He had only traveled on the cruise I met him on, and then he moved to Georgia, and that was all the travel he'd ever done. Little did he know that he'd soon be getting a passport and going to Russia several times. So we went over to Russia, adopted our teenage daughter, we brought her home, and there was something that just wasn't quite right. And at the time I was uneducated. I'd never heard of reactive attachment disorder, or RAD as it's commonly referred to. But our daughter had full-blown RAD. She was unable to attach, she was unable to trust. And RAD basically is an inability to trust or love others and allow them to love you. It's almost like she's allergic to the idea of someone loving her and taking care of her. So we knew this was going on. It was very difficult. About a month after she was home, she ended up in a mental hospital for trying to kill herself. And at the same time, we're waiting to travel for our baby boy. It was about 3 months in between their travel dates. And our family was just telling us, you guys are crazy. Why would you go way over there to bring these older kids home? And what's the point? Why would you do this? You're going to have your baby. You've got your son. He's 3 at home. And we just said, well, we really feel that God convicted us to have this girl. We don't know why right now. We couldn't see the end result. But, God has a plan. And I realized a long time ago that He doesn't make mistakes, and I do. So if I pray for His will and He shows it to me, it's my responsibility to go after that will and seek it. And I do it a lot more now than I did, because as time goes on, you learn, when He speaks, you don't have to make Him shout next time.